Hello, 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 hello. Good morning. I'm just putting the link into Teams, so bear with me for just 1 second. Love a bit of Hamilton. I think I've put my contact lens in the wrong eye because it's like, can't really see. If you're talking to me, I've got no idea because I'm trying to put the link in to Teams. Failing because I definitely put these in the wrong eye. Good morning, good morning. Hi, Shan. I can see you now. I have 2 dogs that have come up. Yep, so today is our last live. It's actually my last lesson of lockdown because I'm not teaching any lessons with the other year 9s because I've only seen them once. Morning, Braden. And I'm okay, great. And I am not doing anything with the year 10s tomorrow. We're having like a debrief, like with what I'm doing with you guys. So it's our last, my last lesson. And I'm a bit of a ginge since you last saw me. I'm a bit of a ginge. Got a bit of a coppery red tone. Yeah, you guys get the last lesson. It was only fitting, really, that you lot got it. My faves. I think you guys are probably going to be one of the hardest, if not the hardest, to say goodbye to on Friday. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to Friday, I won't lie to you. Yes, it'd be nice to see you all on Teams, but I'm really dreading it. Today's lesson won't be very long. I tried to set you a nicer lesson on your last official one. So on Friday, oh my God, Uncle Joe is here. Hi, Sam. Hi, Uncle Joe. Friday is going to be horrendous, and I'm going to be crying. So the plan is on Friday, Braden messaged me already. Yeah, of course you can. Do you go for your announcement? That's all good. Braden already said to me he's got a meeting at 10, so we're going to do it at 10:30 on Friday. Yeah. I'm just going to hang on for 2 seconds for Braden to do his announcement, and then I will get on with the Cuban Missile Crisis. Right, I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to be gross and take my lenses out. I'm pretty sure I put them in the wrong eyes. Oh my goodness! That's so cool! Hello to South Africa. I'm sorry if I had to put up with me for the last few weeks. I did put my contact lens in the wrong eyes. Well, Jaden, it's a pleasure to have you here. You have made my weeks being Joseph Stalin because he's my fave. So thank you very much for being entertaining. So, brilliant. Right, now that I've put my contact lenses in the correct eyes, I think, should we just do the last few consequences of the Cuban? Like, my hair looks so red on camera. Sorry. Jaden, you've been an absolute legend. We'll just do the few consequences. It won't take very long at all. I won't take up too much of your time. I tried to set you a nicest lesson. Here we go. Right, so quick recap of the Cuban Missile Crisis. So we've had the Bay of Pigs. Bay of Pigs went absolutely terribly because America was basically using and abusing Cuba for their playground. And then when Oh, thank you very much. When there is a revolution and Batista is removed with Castro, he says no to America, and America then get annoyed and stop buying the sugar off Cuba, which is their biggest import. That then leads to the Soviet Union coming in and being like, hey, Cuba, we'll buy your sugar, we'll be best friends. And they then build a relationship together, which makes America really mad, and they want to have their playground back. So they decide that they're going to have an invasion at the Bay of Pigs, where they train 1,500 Cuban exiles by the CIA. And they will then put Batista back and remove Castro. Problem is, they don't use the air support to support the airstrikes to support the exiles, and also they have the same radio frequency as Castro. So when the exiles arrive, Castro is waiting for them with an army of 20,000. JFK is absolutely humiliated. He looks like an absolute wally, and ends up coming across really bad and pushes Cuba and the USSR closer together. So much so that the USSR offered to put missiles onto Cuba because they are only 145 kilometers or 90 miles from the coast of Florida, which means that the USSR would have striking distance to the USA from a nice base. Because currently the Americans have got a base in Turkey that could destroy the majority of major cities in the USSR. Come on, I'm going through this at lightning speed. As a direct result, there is a U-2 spy plane that flies over Cuba and sees that missile bases are being made over Cuba, and Kennedy doesn't like it, obviously. He then, along with his brother and his advisors, comes up with a plan that he's going to blockade or quarantine Cuba, meaning that he'll put a naval ships around Cuba, or a border 3,300 kilometers around Cuba, and if a Soviet ship comes to go past that, they will be turned around. Khrushchev sees this as an act of war, and things start to get really tense. JFK addresses the nation, tells them what has been going on, and officially a crisis is declared. And this is on the 22nd of October, she says. I'm trying to do this all from memory. Yeah. By the 24th of October, 18 ships that were headed to Cuba from Soviet Russia have... ain't that the truth? 18 ships carrying the missiles to Cuba turn around in order to avoid a confrontation. Khrushchev is not happy. So Khrushchev sends a letter to Kennedy saying, yo, if you... oh, a nice voice crack there. Nice signature voice crack. If you take the quarantine away and promise to not invade Cuba, we will not have our bases. Okay, no worries, Braden. If you take your quarantine away and promise not to invade Cuba, we won't put missiles on Cuba. Everything will be all right. So they prepared to start answering this letter on the 26th. But on the 27th, another letter arrives on the American president's desk from Khrushchev saying, if you remove your quarantine, don't invade Cuba, and get rid of your missiles in Turkey, we will then not put our missiles on Cuba. Kennedy then says, all right, what should I do? And the advisors, mainly his brother, say, respond to the first publicly and respond to the second privately. So publicly, this ends the dispute or the Cuban Missile Crisis as the US remove their blockade and promise not to invade Cuba, and the missiles on Cuba are dismantled. Privately, though, JFK says to Khrushchev, yeah, I'll take those missiles away from Turkey. And that then led us to the point where we are now, looking at the consequences. Now, obviously, the Cuban Missile Crisis did intensify the rivalry. There is no doubt about that. Yes, it makes things better, but there is that the rivalry still is there, okay? they are able to see, the two superpowers, how far they can push one another. These contact lenses, I can't wait to get them out of my eyeballs. So it increases rivalry because obviously you can see how far they push each other. But also, there was a perception that Khrushchev had backed down and that Kennedy had won. I will put those up in just a second. And the deal over the missiles in Turkey was not made public, which makes Khrushchev look like he's not really got anything. When actually both of the leaders got what they wanted. But because Khrushchev's was private, it made him look weak. Also, at this point, it's really difficult because China just suddenly comes in. To give you a little bit of background, China has been communist now for a few years, in 1962, and has built up a nice relationship with the Soviet Union. They are not happy with, China are not friends with America because America only recognised Taiwan, which has the nationalist, capitalist exiles, and not the communist China. However, despite the fact that Russia and China are friends, China criticised putting missiles onto Cuba, and it totally removes the relationship between the USA and the USSR even and China. Excellent. So as I previously said, JFK is seen as a really strong leader. He's seen as someone that will not back down to the Russian demands, and the winner, even though I don't think there really is any winner of Cuba, the winner of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Whereas Khrushchev, let me bring you a little bit closer so you can see, Khrushchev is seen by his people and the rest of the world as the loser of the Cuban Missile Crisis, as someone that blinked first. So there is a cartoon of Khrushchev and JFK like this, eye to eye, both sat on rockets, and it says who will blink first, which was obviously made before the end of the crisis. And Khrushchev is seen to have blinked first, and is actually so the Russians are so ashamed of Khrushchev. I shouldn't be laughing. They actually oust him as leader by 1964. So he hangs on for another 2 years, but he is ousted as leader by 1964. Another consequence of the Cuban Missile Crisis is a hotline, which still is there in the White House today, and might be being used quite a lot at the moment since there's an election coming up. Putin and Trump forever. So this hotline, it literally is what it says on the tin. When you ring up a hotline, it's a direct line to someone or a company or a crisis center, something. It is a direct connection. So this hotline is, there is one red phone in Washington, in the White House, in the Oval Office for the president to use. And there is a red phone. Excuse me. I haven't done that in a while. There is another red phone in the Kremlin, in the president's office, or the prime minister's office, I should say, in Putin's office, so that the two leaders of the superpowers can directly ring each other. There's no middleman, there's no prospect of there being any telegrams or letters. They can literally pick up the phone and be like, yo, what's happening? So that was installed to increase better communication so that something like the Cuban Missile Crisis would never happen again. Meaning that if there was a disagreement, the two leaders could pick up the phone and actually have a conversation. Or have a conversation about how to win an election. There were also quite a few treaties, which I will write up on the board for you. Just the irony is, one of these treaties, I believe Trump is trying to get rid of. Of course he is. Of course he is. I can just imagine them having a casual conversation through that phone. Like, literally, can't you just be like, yo, Putin, what did you have for breakfast this morning, babe? Oh, I had cat liver. Oh. Here we go. That's a lot of information I've just put up there. Cat liver, it's all I could think of. I don't know why, it was all I could think of. And I feel like Putin would eat something weird like that. Right, the treaties that we have. We have the Limited Test Ban Treaty. So this treaty here, it's signed in 1963, so just under a year after the crisis happens. And it is basically where they agreed to stop testing nuclear weapons in the atmosphere. They have to be done underwater. Llama kidney, yeah, Uncle Joe, that's cool. That's fun. You know, whatever floats your boat. Now, this Limited Test Ban Treaty meant that they couldn't test it in deserts as they had been previously, or up in the atmosphere. It was then had to be all done underwater or in controlled conditions. The next one, the Outer Space Treaty, we know by 1962, the space race and the arms race had been hotting up. And it was now this kind of competition to get to space first, or well, which we know they did, but to get on the moon first. And it was agreed in the Outer Space Treaty that they were promising to use outer space as a peaceful, like neutral ground, and not a way to put in nuclear weapons. So they could have satellites, they could have the International Space Station. I know that's not for a bit yet, but basically the outer space area would not be a scramble for like territory or a way to kind of get one up on the other. So it was going to be a neutral, peaceful ground. And Britain even signed that one. Then you've got this one, which is potentially my favourite treaty because it's just a mouthful, of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Now, this was designed to stop the spread of nuclear weapons, meaning that they did not want to get to another situation like the Cuban Missile Crisis. So it was about considering the limitations of nuclear weapons or arsenals and stopping it going to any other countries now. So if you didn't have nuclear weapons, excuse me, if you didn't have nuclear weapons by this treaty, the idea then was that you weren't to have any more. Obviously, with places like North Korea, we know that they didn't really enforce that very well. And it actually leads to something called the SALT talks, the Strategic Arms Limitation talks. And it is where the USSR and the USA actively meet together to see how they can limit their testing and the development and their current nuclear stocks. And as a direct result of that, we then enter a period of détente. Now, I can't say this word without, I'm sure he'll never watch this, a year 11 that I had this year called Wesley James, who would, the first time I ever taught them about détente, went détente. And détente basically just means easing of tensions. So it was a case of, it starts a period after the Cuban Missile Crisis where the superpowers are more willing and open to talk to one another. Ta-da! That is it. That is the consequences of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, in the here we go. In what I've sent you, I've just got the information on what I've used. You can't see that because it's blown out, and the revision guide there to help you make a mind map for me, so that you've got a nice mind map of the consequences of the Cuban Missile Crisis. And that means you would have finished your last Cold War lesson of the year. And it's a nice place for you to start next year with Mrs. Goy. Right, my lovelies, I will see you on Friday when I will be nice and tearful. Have a good day. If you need anything, just to let you know, I will be around, but I do have an appointment with my contact lenses because I need them sorting. And then I am driving down to Redruth. So for a couple of hours, I might not answer your messages, but I will get to them. Right. See you all on Friday. Miss you loads. Bye.